But this is how it was in the legend of Siddhartha, that he encountered, his father kept all these things from him. And then there's the story of the famous four gates, the four gates to the city. And Siddhartha with his charioteer Channa leaving one day for a ride, and as they left the gate, of course, soldiers would precede him, and they would shout, Siddhartha's coming, the prince is coming, everyone smile and be happy. And if there was someone who was maybe in any way looking different, there was someone who was sick, or if there was a funeral going on, or if there was someone who was very old, they tell them, okay, you go inside, Prince shouldn't see you. And although this would happen, and Prince, every time he looked around, Prince Siddhartha would see everyone happy and smiling. One day, as he exited one of the gates of the city, he encountered an old person, someone very old. And I'll explain this as I do to my 8, 9, 10-year-olds when I teach my classes, because this is Buddhism for Dummies. So, with Channa leaving the gate, and for the first time he saw someone who was really, really old. And he said, "Ho, Channa, stop the chariot. Whoa, what's going on here?" And he said to the old man, I said, "Wow, what happened to you? I've never seen anyone looks like you." And the old man just said, "Young prince, I am old. And even you, although you are young and strong now, even you, if you're fortunate to live long, even you will become old." And Prince Siddhartha said, "Hey, no way." And the guy said, "Way. It can happen." And he made him think about this. And then another day he was going to second gate of the city with Channa. And although the soldiers would go ahead of him and make everyone to encourage them to smile and hide anyone who might make Prince Siddhartha think too much about life, he saw for the first time someone who was really ill. Maybe this person had leprosy, missing parts of his nose and ears, face. And the prince had the chariot stopped and said, "Wow." He said, "Dude, what happened to you? I've never seen anyone look like you." And this person said, "Prince, I am sick. I have an illness. I have a disease. Even you, even though you're young and healthy now, even you or someone you love may someday have a disease as I do." And Prince Siddhartha said, "No way." The guy said, "It can happen." And then the third gate, he encountered a funeral, saw people wailing, mourning, and he asked, "What's going on?" And he was told, "These people have lost someone they loved, and they're grieving." And he said, "What are you talking about?" And he was told, "Even you, young prince, someday you too will die. There will be an end to your life." And he said, "No way." He said, "It happens, way." So this is, again, the legend of Siddhartha. And this caused him to think. And in the fourth gate, he went through the fourth gate, and he encountered a Buddha. He encountered an enlightened monk. And he saw the countenance of this monk, such peace. And he stopped the chariot and he said, "Who are you? You never seen anyone who looks like you." And this monk told him, "I am a seeker of truth. I've given up all worldly possessions to seek the truth." And this, I think, is when the seed was planted for Siddhartha someday to also seek the truth. So this legend of Siddhartha, in a way, speaks to all of us. Each of us growing up, when we're young, we're unaware that this is life. But in time, we all realize that we grow old, and people we love grow older, and that we become sick, and people we love can also become sick, and that there is death. So each of us is like Siddhartha. We have each gone through those gates. But at the fourth gate, he encountered enlightenment. Siddhartha became the historical Shakyamuni Buddha. He wasn't the first Buddha, not the last Buddha. People think of him as the Buddha. He is the historical Buddha. He's like a enlightenment, the seed of enlightenment that was planted in the right soil, the right time, in the right climate, in the right season. And it took root and it grew. And so Siddhartha's life in teaching the Dharma, it took root, the Dharma spread and exists today. And we refer to him today as the Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakya is his family clan. Muni means wise person. And Buddha is a title. It's not, literally, it just means one who is awake. One who is awake. So Shakyamuni Buddha means the wise person from the Shakya family who awakened. Each of us has the potential to become a Buddha. Each of us has the potential to awaken. Each of us does. And so if one of you becomes enlightened, you might be known as the Vancouver Muni Buddha. The wise person from Vancouver who awakened. So, the story of Siddhartha is then, it continues after beginning to contemplate life. He goes on to finally give up all worldly possessions. He renounces his inheritance and his title and his kingdom, and he goes off in search of his happiness. Deep inside, he's unfulfilled. Something's not right. And here again, Siddhartha is just like all of us. That each of us, we are also seeking our happiness. Whether we admit it or not, all of us want to be happy. No one wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I hope I have misery and pain today. Everyone wants to be happy. And Siddhartha gave everything up, as this monk explained to him, to seek his happiness, to seek the truth. And so Siddhartha did this for 6 years. It said he mastered every discipline that he encountered and still somehow not satisfied. Finally, he began to fast. After you renounce all your possessions, what else can you renounce? And you renounce your pleasures, what few things you enjoy. And eventually you renounce even the enjoyment of eating. And the legend of Siddhartha says that he was eating but 1 grain of rice a day. Can you imagine? I ate at least 2 years worth of gohan yesterday, if that's the case. But 1 grain of rice a day, just amazing. And he was so skinny you could see his backbone through his, from the front. Legend says Siddhartha was on the verge of dying and he knew it. And he also realized he's no closer to the truth. So he took nourishment and he gained strength. And it said at that point 5 other monks that were following him. And they felt that if anyone's going to find the truth, it's Siddhartha, because he's so determined that they'll follow him, and when he discovers what is true, they'll be the first to know. So when Siddhartha began to eat, they looked at him and said, he's given up. We thought he was the bomb, but he's just a wimp. Forget him. And they left him. They deserted him. And Siddhartha then sat beneath an old tree, meditated with great determination. And it said on the morning of December 8th, as the sun rose in the east, Siddhartha awakened to the Dharma. And after that point, he's called the Shakyamuni Buddha. So now we understand, we're on the same page here. This is the story of Siddhartha. What he taught from that point, we call the Buddha Dharma. And as I mentioned, Dharma, the greatest meaning of the word means truth. Buddha Dharma, the truth of awakening. So how do we wake up? So the Siddhartha went, it said, from the tree that then came to be known as the Bodhi tree, the tree of enlightenment, went to the deer park where these 5 monks were. And when they saw him, of course, they said, just ignore him, there's Siddhartha, the wimp. But something was different about him, and they were open to listening to him. And they became aware of the Dharma. And for the first time at the deer park, the 3 treasures gathered. The Buddha sharing the Dharma with the first Sangha, the 5 monks. The 3 treasures gathered for the first time. And what did the Buddha teach at that point? What he taught spread, and we call today Buddhism, the ism of awakening. So what did Siddhartha teach? Okay. Middle path. Four Noble Truths. And Eightfold Path. Okay? This is the first turning of the wheel of the Dharma. These are the things that he taught initially. Most of you are familiar with these things, Middle path, Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. But I don't want you to be concerned with numbers. We're not here to learn lists of things, 4 of these, 6 of those, 8 of these. Learning lists, inconsequential. The lists have to make sense. Otherwise, our understanding is really just memorizing. It's not about memorizing, but it's about understanding. What is it that the Buddha taught? Why are these things so important?